or pager, and remember that the use of cameras and recording equipment is prohibited. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have a program this afternoon. I often tell people that the next secret in Hanover will be the first secret in Hanover, and I guess today's meeting is no secret by now either. But I just want to say that this is a wonderful historic moment in the life of an institution that has had a lot of history over the last 2 1/3 centuries. And I can also attest that it's a wonderful moment in the life of an individual. I recall in April of 98, when I was introduced in Alumni Hall as the 16th President of Dartmouth, and what a very special occasion that was for me. And I simply would say that over the last 11 years, as quickly as they've gone, Susan and I have enjoyed immensely the opportunity to represent this wonderful institution, and we've been warmed repeatedly by the generosity and the support and the encouragement of you, of our colleagues, of students, of faculty, staff, administration, alumni, parents who do so much for this institution. What a wonderful job it is. It's the best job in the world. And that's why I can share in the enthusiasm for this, with the 17th president we'll have. Ed Haldeman is chair of the Board of Trustees, and he is remarkably dedicated to Dartmouth, as are all of his colleagues on the board. And I would turn the meeting now over to Ed Haldeman. Ed?
Thank you so much, Jim. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire community, I want to welcome you all to this historic moment in the life of the college and extend our thanks to all of you for your support during the search process and for everything you do to make Dartmouth a special place. Dartmouth is sustained by your devotion and hard work. Even though there will be many future opportunities to honor Jim and Susan Wright, let me begin my remarks by thanking them for all they have done for Dartmouth. It was just over a year ago that Jim informed the board of his intention to step down at the end of this academic year. It will mark his 11th year as Dartmouth's president and his 40th year at the college in a succession of distinguished roles: Professor of History, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, and Provost. Few people know about or love Dartmouth as much as Jim does. He's been an exceptional colleague to faculty and staff, a teacher and mentor to students, and a great friend to alumni. He's been totally committed to the ideals of a liberal arts education and deeply dedicated to Dartmouth's historic mission. Under his leadership, the campus has thrived in many dimensions, with strategic faculty growth and new academic initiatives, an expanded financial aid program, increased diversity among students and the college community, significant improvements to the physical campus, enhanced student life, and expansion and renewal of athletic facilities. Jim's led us confidently into this new century. And beyond Hanover, he's been an extraordinary leader in ensuring that our nation's veterans have access to higher education. The board takes pride in all that Jim Wright has accomplished and the leadership he's shown as Dartmouth confronts new realities forced upon us by the worldwide economic crisis. And Susan Wright has for over 30 years provided her leadership in areas of student life and recently as the executive director of the Montgomery Endowment. Together, the Wrights have carefully stewarded this place we hold dear. They've helped ensure that the Dartmouth of today is as vibrant as ever and ready to continue its intellectual distinction and honored traditions as we usher in Jim's successor. Jim and Susan, you have our eternal gratitude and undying friendship. Before I introduce Dartmouth's next president, I'd like to introduce Trustee Al Mully and ask him to give you a brief overview of the search process that led the board to its selection. Al has worked tirelessly this past year in consulting with the Dartmouth community, talking to leaders in higher education, meeting with candidates, literally crisscrossing the nation and the globe to ensure that the search process was one of integrity and success. Al, thanks so much for all your hard work.
Thank you, Ed. It is my privilege to be here with all of you to acknowledge the extraordinary work from across the Dartmouth community that has brought us to this defining moment, one that will help shape the future of the college that is a part of all of us. Appointing a new president is ultimately the responsibility of the Board of Trustees. It is, in fact, their most important duty. But thousands of men and women of Dartmouth stepped up to engage constructively in the work of choosing the 17th president in the Wheelock succession. Students, members of the faculty and staff, and alumni here in Hanover, across the nation, and beyond. You gave freely of your time, your minds, and your hearts. You told us about your aspirations for the college, to define for all of higher education what a liberal arts education means for the 21st century, and to provide leadership on the world stage by redoubling efforts to form leaders who will rise to meet the great challenges of our time. We listened carefully, and we regularly reported back to you what we were hearing. We offered an evocative description of Dartmouth's distinctiveness in higher education that resonated across the college's constituencies, as did the qualities of leadership that we would seek in a president, beginning with a powerful affinity for and commitment to the mission and values of Dartmouth College, a personal commitment to teaching, an affinity for students and a pleasure in their company, and a commitment to exceptional scholarship, inspiring productivity and excitement about intellectual inquiry. We did find such a president, and the trustees believe that the appointment Ed will announce in a few moments is truly the choice of all the people who participated in the search. It was your appreciation of Dartmouth's legacy and your vision for its future that defined the type of leader we sought and guided our decisions. At the center of all this work, to make it possible, has been a search committee comprised of 6 faculty nominated by the Committee on Organization and Policy and the Professional School Deans, the President of the Student Assembly, and the Chair of the Alumni Liaison Committee, as well as 6 trustees. These committee members, many of whom are here, and please stand if I call your name and you are here when I call your name, include Joyce DeLeo, Professor of Anesthesiology and of Pharmacology and Toxicology at Dartmouth Medical School, Sidney Finkelstein, Stephen Roth, Professor of Management at the Tuck School of Business, Gretchen Gerzina, the Vernon Professor in Biography and Chair of the Department of English, Joseph Helbley, Dean of the Thayer School of Engineering, Jane Lipson, Smith Professor of Chemistry, and Jonathan Skinner, the John Sloan Dickey Third Century Professor in the Social Sciences. Student and alumni leaders were Molly Bodie, Class of '09, President of the Student Assembly, and Martha Beatty, Class of '76, Chair of the Alumni Council's Alumni Liaison Committee and past President of the Alumni Council. Trustees included Brad Evans, Jose Fernandez, Pamela Joyner, Steve Mandel, myself, Peter Robinson, and Ed Haldeman serving as board chair and ex officio member of the search committee. We received incredible support from Dartmouth's own John Isaacson of the executive search agency Isaacson Miller and his colleague Kate Barry. Here at the college, Cheryl Reynolds and Laura Hercott were enormously attentive to all whose lives were touched by this search. I stand in awe of the work these people have done this past year with you, and for the common good of Dartmouth's future. The time commitment and at times the pace were daunting. In the past 8 months, we met in person as a committee 9 times, with most meetings lasting 2 days and some longer. And there were frequent conference calls in between. We crisscrossed the country in groups to meet with prospective candidates more than 25 times. Each member of this committee found their voice early and used it well. They were strong ambassadors of the college as we engaged with the hundreds of leaders of higher education who served as resources or were prospective candidates. Everyone did their utmost when their utmost was needed. Any less, and we would not have had this wonderful outcome for Dartmouth. The members of this committee have my undying gratitude, and that of the entire Board of Trustees. Finally, I want to acknowledge 2 people, Jim Wright, who has paved the way for our next leader, and my classmate, Ed Haldeman, as he returns to the podium. It was Ed who led in the effort to engage the entire Dartmouth community. It was Ed who engaged John Isaacson, and as an ex officio member of the committee, Ed was with us in every aspect of the search. Ed, your leadership has been extraordinary.
Thanks so much, Al. And now, it is with great pleasure and anticipation that I tell you a little bit about Dartmouth's 17th president, an extraordinary man who has taken an unusual path to us today, but one who shares deeply the values Dartmouth holds dear. To help guide the presidential search process, last September, the Board of Trustees approved a detailed leadership statement. I want to share with you one passage from this 25-page document that truly sums up the board's leadership criteria for Dartmouth. The next president of Dartmouth will build on a rich tradition and an impressive trajectory, intuitively understanding that the future belongs to leaders who are inspired creative, and unafraid. Seeks a leader who will appreciate its legacy, discern its destiny, and guide its singular vision. Our 17th president brings to Dartmouth unique experience, passion, and strength to fulfill this goal. Born in Seoul, Korea, and raised along the Mississippi River in Muscatine, Iowa, the president-elect is an inspirational educator, internationally recognized physician, and an anthropologist, innovative global health leader, and former quarterback of Muscatine's high school football team. Graduated magna cum laude from Brown University, he earned both an MD and a PhD from Harvard. Our next president has spent 20 years working to improve health in developing countries. As a physician, as an academic leader, and as a leader of global organizations. He is a co-founder of Partners in Health, a not-for-profit organization that supports health programs in poor communities worldwide. He served as director of the HIV/AIDS department at the World Health Organization, and he currently holds 3 academic positions: chair of the Department of Global Health and Social Medicine at Harvard Medical School, chief of the Division of Global Health Equity at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, and director of the Francois Xavier Banyou Center for Health and Human Rights at Harvard School of Public Health. Both the search committee and the board were deeply impressed with the next president's ideals of learning, innovation, and service, and the impact these have had on students, faculty, health professionals, and communities across the globe. Student body president Molly Bodie from the great class of 2009 reminded the search committee that her class's freshman reading assignment was Tracy Kidder's book, Mountains Beyond Mountains. That book chronicles the work of our next president and his colleagues Paul Farmer and Ophelia Dahl as they worked in Haiti and Peru and other countries throughout the globe to improve health care for some of the poorest citizens of the world. What is so astounding about our new president's work is not only the commitment and passion that he brings to everything he does, but perhaps even more remarkably, what he has been able to achieve. Over the course of his distinguished career, he's persuaded reluctant governments and global health organizations to adopt more effective treatments for deadly diseases, worked with global pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of life-saving drugs, raised millions of dollars to expand this work around the world, inspired innumerable students and colleagues to pursue their own passions, and literally changed the world's response to global epidemics like HIV/AIDS and multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. Like many others, Molly and her classmates were deeply moved by reading his story. Indeed, they were so inspired, Molly told us that they spent most of their freshman trip as they walked through the woods and sat around the campfire, talking and dreaming about the road of possibilities that lay before them. The fact is, that is what our next president does best, and what he is coming to Dartmouth to do. He teaches and inspires young people. He mentors them and guides them, and he works tirelessly to arm them with the skills they need to go out and change the world. Our president-elect's accomplishments have been recognized by many. He received the MacArthur Genius Fellowship in 2003. He was elected to the Institute of Medicine of the prestigious National Academy of Sciences in 2004. He was named one of America's 25 best leaders by U.S. News and World Report in 2005. And in 2006, Time magazine named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world. All in all, he's pretty impressive. He's also married to a brilliant woman, Dr. Yunsuk Lim, a pediatrician at Children's Hospital in Boston. They have 2 sons, Thomas and their newest child, who was born just last Friday evening. So he's not only our new president, but also a new father. It is my honor and privilege to introduce Dartmouth's 17th president in the Wheelock succession, Jim Yong Kim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Ed and Al, for your too generous introduction, and for the honor that you and your colleagues on the Board of Trustees have bestowed on me in entrusting to me leadership of this magnificent institution, this college on the hill. And thank you, everyone, for the warmth you've already shown me as the newest member of the Dartmouth family. On a personal note, I'd like to thank my parents. My father, Naki Kim, who passed away more than 20 years ago, was a dentist. And dentists are among the most practical people on earth. He taught me the value of hard work, determination, and keeping both feet firmly on the ground. My mother, Oksuk Kim, studied theology and received her PhD in philosophy. She taught me to respect every individual while daring great things. Dare great things, keep both your feet on the ground. I hope that will prove to be a good formula for President of Dartmouth. As I embark on this exciting journey, I'm humbled by the example set by those who've gone before me. Men like Ernest Hopkins, John Kemeny, and John Sloan Dickey, about whom I will speak in a moment. And men like David McLaughlin and James Friedman, and of course, Jim Wright. Jim, you've devoted your life to Dartmouth, including 11 years as president. You leave enormous shoes to fill. Your tenure has enriched academic life at Dartmouth with an expansion of the faculty and the launch of new academic initiatives. And it's transformed the campus with an array of beautiful buildings. You and Susan created a warm and inviting atmosphere for all Dartmouth students, faculty, and alums, and even for newcomers like me. My wife, Yunsuk, and I will do our best to continue to nurture this wonderful environment. Yunsuk's sorry she can't be here today, and as Ed mentioned, my second son was born just 3 days ago. It's been quite a week. My older son, Thomas, said to me just yesterday, "Daddy, why does everything have to happen to us at the same time?" But I can assure you that Thomas and Yunsuk are just as excited as I am in joining the Dartmouth community. As I drove onto our snow-covered campus today, I was struck once again by the spectacular setting in which Dartmouth students live and learn. I can't imagine a more beautiful place to be a student, or for that matter, a college president. But far beyond its physical beauty, Dartmouth is an institution without parallel, unique even in higher education. This is a community bound by rich traditions and a vibrant, ever-evolving culture. The diversity here is real, yet there's a strong, abiding sense of family that extends out to our 69,000 alumni. As an anthropologist, I understand and value the importance of cherished traditions, a deeply shared campus culture, and a diverse yet cohesive community. My family and I are anxious to learn about and embrace every bit of it. Indeed, I'm looking forward to working with all of you in the years to come to preserve and strengthen what makes Dartmouth so special, to ensure that our college is appreciated and its influence felt ever more widely in the world, and to secure its future in a rapidly changing global landscape. These will be my top priorities as president and chief advocacy officer of Dartmouth College. Young people from many, many backgrounds come here because of the exceptional learning experience that Dartmouth offers, whether as undergraduates or to join the first-rate professional schools and graduate programs that the college can point to with great pride. Certainly, a vital part of that learning takes place in the classrooms in Kemeny, in Dartmouth Hall, the labs in Fairchild, and among the stacks in Baker. But just as important to that learning is what happens out on Whitey Burnham Field, up on Mount Moosilauke, here on the stage in the Hop, and yes, even late at night on Webster Avenue. Education is not just about transferring knowledge. It is about learning how to be citizens of the world, how to work effectively with others as part of a team, and how to emerge from your studies with an enduring and robust philosophy of life. Dartmouth is better equipped, perhaps more so than any other school in the nation, to teach these virtues, to help educate well-rounded leaders who can go forth and make the world a better place. That brings me back to John Sloan Dickey, whose example and achievements were such an inspiration to me during the course of my selection as president of Dartmouth. President Dickey left a lasting mark. He spent most of his career before becoming president outside of academia, but he believed passionately in the power of education to foster positive change. He was fond of telling students, the world's troubles are your troubles. And he believed that a Dartmouth education should equip young people to do something about those troubles. I believe that remains Dartmouth's most important mission today. Like President Dickey, I spent much of my career in places that are very different from Hanover. I spent plenty of time in the classroom, but also in the slums of Peru, amid the rural poverty of Haiti, in post-genocidal Rwanda, and in the snowy cold of Siberia. In my small way, I've tried to make the world's troubles my troubles. I've tackled them directly by setting up treatment programs, working to lower the prices of life-saving drugs, and changing global health policy. But I've always known that my own impact as an individual will be limited. That's why I've worked to teach and mentor young people who can have a far greater impact than me. That's what attracted me to this extraordinary place called Dartmouth College. Here we have all the tools to prepare an army of future leaders, students like you, who will go out into the world, and by making the most of what you learn from your professors and from each other, make that world more productive, more enlightened, more humane, and more just. We know we can create these leaders because Dartmouth faculty do what is thought to be impossible at other institutions. You teach so well that students give the quality of your instruction a 97% approval rating. At the same time, you do groundbreaking research and make great contributions to your field. It will be my job to ensure that you, the faculty, reach your highest aspirations, both as teachers and as scholars. We know Dartmouth graduates can change the world. They already are. From the last two secretaries of the Treasury, Henry Paulson and Timothy Geithner, to the Ocheng brothers, Milton and Fred. Inspired by a Dartmouth community service trip to Nicaragua, the Ochengs returned to the small village in rural Kenya where they were born to start a clinic. This clinic administers not just medical care, but hope itself. Dartmouth graduates all over the world are doing great things and making us all proud. I found again and again in my career that when you set bold, ambitious goals, Plenty of people will tell you that you're crazy or that it just can't be done. That's what they told us at Partners in Health when we wanted to treat people suffering from multi-drug resistant tuberculosis in the slums of Lima, Peru. It's what they told us at the World Health Organization when we wanted to treat 3 million people living with HIV in developing countries. I'm happy to say that we didn't listen to the naysayers. Now people across the globe are being treated for both drug-resistant tuberculosis and HIV, and the naysayers have been converted. If we teach nothing else at Dartmouth, we must teach our students to find their passion, to aim high, work hard, and settle for nothing less than to transform the world. I know Dartmouth students can achieve anything to which they commit themselves. My job will be to make sure that Dartmouth gives you, our students, all the tools you need to do unprecedented things, whether in science or the arts or business or health, things that even today seem unimaginable. Who could ask for a better job than that? The anthropologist Margaret Mead once said, "Never underestimate the capacity of a small group of committed souls to change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Well, we're not such a small group at Dartmouth, and I've already met a lot of committed souls here. The greatest privilege of my life will be to work with all of you as president, to make the world's troubles our troubles, and to train leaders the likes of which the world has never seen to take them on. Thank you all for welcoming me. I can't wait to get started. It is, as we all know, let me start that again. It is, as we all know, a small college, and yet the Kim family already loves it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim, for inspiring us, and now you know what we mean by a Dartmouth welcome. We're delighted to have you here, and Susan and I invite you to join us over in Alumni Hall and have an opportunity there to meet and say hello and welcome to Jim Kim. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you.